Hey everyone. You know, a lot of people are probably asking the question, even as we speak today, seeing as though a lot of the championships are happening today. And as you can see on the title of the video, is the BCS heading for controversy again this Sunday? Well, apparently that seems to be the direction that they're heading in. Now, speaking of BCS, right now Southern Miss is actually beating Houston in Houston. Now you might say to yourself, what does that have to do with BCS controversy? It doesn't really have to do nothing with BCS controversy, it's more about pride. You see, Southern Miss, to my knowledge, for most of its tenure in Conference USA, has dominated it. It has dominated it along with the likes of Marshall, and even before they left for the Big East, Louisville. They have dominated that conference. So if you think for 1 second Southern Miss, pride-wise in the school, well, in the football program that has dominated that conference, or been one of the teams that has dominated that conference, you think for one instant they're going to let Houston be the first Conference USA to get a BCS bid, then you're wrong. You see, in their minds, if anybody should get that first BCS bid for Conference USA, it should be them. That's the determining factor. That's why they are playing the football game they are right now. Because right now it's about 11:57 Pacific time. But anyway, getting back on track. The question is BCS heading for controversy? Yes, it is, in my opinion. You see, everybody's saying that despite what happens today in the SEC championship game in a few hours, that no matter what happens, we're still going to get LSU, Alabama. Now, some sportscasters, BCS analysts, ESPN analysts, if you will, have come up with different scenarios. They have said that the only way this could change, is if not only does LSU lose, but if Oklahoma State, that is, that if Oklahoma State puts a beating on Oklahoma, which is easier said than done. Because Oklahoma, like Southern Miss right now, you think they're going to go out on a losing end. You think they're about to let the in-state rival go to the BCS national title game, you're wrong. Because again, just like with Southern Miss, it's all about pride. And Oklahoma has that pride factor that, hey, we've been the only Oklahoma team that's been a good representation in that national title game. We've won that national title game. If anybody should be there, it should be us. You see, it's all about pride. So that's going to give them a lot of motivation tonight to want to walk in to Stillwater and beat Oklahoma State. But just like UCLA found out in Eugene last night, it's easier said than done, especially when you have a sold-out crowd anticipating the fact that your team, your home team, has this close of a chance at the BCS national title game. Now, some people will say, some people may agree with the scenario that no matter what happens after today, we're still going to get LSU, Alabama. That might be very true. And let me tell people this. It wouldn't be the first time in any college sport that two teams from the same conference have met. No, it wouldn't be. You see, the last time that happened, as far as to my knowledge, was 1988 in the national championship game of the NCAA tournament between Kansas and Oklahoma. That was the last time it ever happened, to my knowledge. It could have happened before in other college sports, but I can't think of any right now. But to my knowledge, that's the last time it happened. So it's not that big of a difference, folks. It's not that big of a deal. The fact is, no matter what happens, we'll probably, no matter what happens, it's not going to be the first time it's happened, folks. It's not going to be the first time it happens. It's not going to be the first time it happens, folks. You see, so we shouldn't really be too worried about the fact that it's going to be a conference game for the national title because, again, like I said, in college basketball, it's happened before. I don't know if any other college sports it's happened in, but it's happened. Now, I know some people will say, well, now I know some of you watching this video will say, well, college basketball is the exception. Anybody can face anybody. I know you're saying, well, I know you're saying, heck, there's been a couple of times we've almost had Missouri, Kansas. We've almost had Stanford, Cal. We've almost had this. We've almost had that. But like I said, folks, it's not the first time. Now, to my knowledge, like I said, Kansas and Oklahoma in the national championship game of the NCAA basketball tournament, as far as I know, is the only time. If North Carolina and Duke faced in there, I can't remember. But like I said, as far as I know, that was the only time. So it's not that different. But to the BCS deal, to college football fans, it is a big deal. Because to college football fans, it's like an insult. It's like you're basically saying, oh, the BCS is just made to put together two of the best teams in the land. Which is true. And unfortunately, two of those best teams right now are in the same conference. But here's the thing. Again, if things play out a certain way at the end of this day, that may not happen. But either way, according to some people, it still may. And also, you got to realize the location of the BCS title game. See, the BCS title game is going to be in New Orleans, Louisiana. So money-wise, what do you think would be the best bet for them? Exactly, to have that rematch. As much as they don't want to have it, that's the best scenario. Now again, I know a lot of people would feel that would be like a slap in the face of the BCS. A slap in the face of all the teams, all the BCS eligible schools and conferences. And even those that are in the mid conferences that try to get those at-large bids. It'd be like a slap in the face to them. But the thing is, folks, there's nothing we can do. It's like a lot of people have said, it's the system. Until the system is either fixed or tweaked to the point that it says, yeah, we got the two best teams, but from different conferences, only then will it work. We have to have, basically, this is what a lot of people are saying they need to tweak. That is, you could have two of the best schools, two of the best teams, but but both of them got to be from different conferences. One's got to be from one conference, the other's got to be from another conference. That's the only way. But unfortunately, like I said, it's the system. But again, I've also mentioned this wouldn't be the first time this has ever happened in any college sports. Heck, you want a great example of how this could really happen? Take a look at some of the old NCAA football games that have come out on the PS2, PS3, Xbox, whatever. Take a look at those. The GameCube. You know what they say, folks? They say the same thing. Heck, I've created a lot of schools and stuff in the NCAA games that I've played. And you know what's happened? Sometimes there's always been a bowl game between two schools in the same conference. So think of it this way. Think of this as a real life scenario made by EA's NCAA football. Because that's exactly what it's going to turn out to be. But again, we really shouldn't be complaining too much because it wouldn't be the first time. Now, will it generate some buy rate? Will it generate some viewer rates? Viewership, ratings? Probably not, because a lot of people are not going to want to tune in and see the same thing all over again, even if it's for the national title. And you see, that's another thing people got to put into scenario. You see, what needs to be done, in my opinion, in my honest to God opinion, is not only do they have to tweak the BCS a little bit so that something like this probably doesn't happen again, but they have to start giving the teams that they have predicted or have been in that national championship scenario, the two best teams that they call it, they got to basically give them a schedule that's beyond any kind of schedule. A schedule that's so tough, so strong, that if they do go undefeated, they would have proven themselves worthy of the national championship, whether they win that conference or not. So in my opinion, this is what I think. I think, how many schools that get into the BCS? You got 2 in the national title, 2 in the orange, 2 in the fiesta, that's 6, 2 in the sugar, that's 8, and 2 in the rose, that's 10. So you take your top 10 teams that go into those BCS bowl games and you give them tough schedules. Oh, well, okay, maybe not the top 10, but at least give the top 5 very strong and tough schedules so that they can prove their worth. They can prove their worth. That's what I would do. So that if the 2 top teams that come out of that undefeated, they would have proven themselves as the best in the world. To me, that's the only way you could do this. The only way you could tweak it is not only by saying we need one from one conference, one from another. No. The other way you could tweak it is to give the top 5 strong schedules. Don't start them out weak. Don't start them out in the middle. Start them out strong and continue on for the rest of the season and see what happens. See what happens. That way you could tell whether or not that school is worthy of not just a BCS bid, not just worthy of winning the conference, but is worthy overall of the national championship. That's the best laid scenario, my friends. But hey, until that time, until something like that happens, until the BCS is tweaked to one from one conference and one from another conference is, made, then we just got to deal with it, folks. I mean, again, like I said, it's not the first time and it's not going to be the last. So, comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. Do you agree with me or not? And I'll talk to you later.